All right, now for our next Cincinnati market update, coming from an award-winning realtor, Gary Hagan, joins us on the American Dream right now to talk a little bit about Cincy. What's going on, Gary?
Hey, everything in Cincinnati is coming up roses right now.
Yeah, I know it's a pretty hot market out there. You've been in this real estate business for a while. I'd love to put a historical context around that before we dive into the market. So when did you get in, Gary?
I started back in 1978, Craig, and back in those days, it was a much less technical market. This was in the days before there were cell phones, fax machines, any of those types of things. So back in 1978, our purchase contract was 2 pages long, and it was on NCR paper. And when you peeled off 5 or 6 of those and you told the purchaser, hey, press hard, you're making 5 copies. And then when you finished writing the contract, you tore off a page, gave it to them, you got in your car, you drove over to the listing agent's office, you dropped it off there, they got in their car, drove over to their client's house, and they would make the necessary changes, and they would get in their car and drive back over to my office, and that process might repeat 2 or 3 times until you finally came to a deal.
Wow. Well, it's certainly come a long way and a little bit different now. Now we got these things. Deals are happening on phones.
Exactly.
But I'm sure your clients love just the historical context that you can put on selling real estate. I mean, you're still working with people's biggest investment. It's still very emotional, and you've been through different cycles. So I'm sure just the ability to get analytical with your buyers and sellers is very, very much appreciated there in Cincinnati. Let's talk about buyers, and let's talk a little bit about sellers. So buyers entering the market, I know there's low inventory. What advice do you have for them?
Well, the inventory reached actually 1.8 months, and a good healthy market would be 5 or 6 months of inventory. So it got down to 1.8 at a couple months ago. It's eked back up into the 2s right now, but it's actually kind of unhealthy because what happens is there are very, very few homes on the market. When one comes up, there's almost a feeding frenzy, and a buyer can get caught up in that, and maybe in the excitement of bidding and outbidding somebody else, they go, oh boy, I got the deal, and then a few minutes later they go, oh gosh, what did I just do? Yeah. And then you start to see deals fall out of contract with inspections and things like that. So it's when the inventory is low, it's not very healthy. I like to get my buyers to come to my office first because instead of 2 pages today, the average contract package is at least 17 pages long. And I like to have them come into my office when everything is calm and quiet and go over the paperwork so they understand each and every paragraph and that there's only maybe a dozen salient points that really matter. Sure. And once they understand the paperwork, then when we're actually in a buying situation, I can send the contracts I can put together electronically. They can sign them electronically. And when you do electronic signing, you can do that on your phone in about 2 minutes. So rather than, and it's not like accepting the terms and conditions of an app where a lot of us do that and don't worry about it. Well, I want my clients to know what all that paperwork says and what all those terms and conditions are. Sure. So that they're doing the right thing.
Well, Gary, I got to be quick with you because we're running out of time, but I also just wanted to get real quick advice for sellers in this market.
What's happening right now and why the inventory is low is some sellers are actually concerned about putting their house on the market that it will sell real quick, and then they won't have a place to go. So the ideal situation, of course, would be for a seller to be able to find a place and qualify for it and move right away. But if they can't do that, they need to get their home ready for the market. They have to do, and I have a stager that I provide for each of our sellers to help them decide how best to present the home for market. And the other thing that's really key is photographs. You have to have really, really good pictures today, and we provide those as well.
Well, Gary, whether it's the 1970s or 2018, the one constant is that having a great professional to represent you is is always a key ingredient when you're talking about your biggest investment. You're one of the best in Cincinnati. We appreciate you coming on the American Dream and sharing some knowledge with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig, for having me.
And by the way, if you have any questions about your real estate or maybe you just want to follow the show, make sure you visit us online, AmericanDreamNetwork.tv. We'd love to help empower your American dream. More of the show coming up next.